What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus package update and daily news report for Friday, March 18th. So Democrats are currently divided over passing an economic agenda during times of high inflation, and we understand why. Progressives, although, have given a list of executive orders that President Biden could actually push through to achieve Biden's economic agenda. We also know that many states are considering providing more relief to their residents, whether it's through stimulus checks, tax cuts, or things in between. We also know one state is actually highly considering $500 stimulus checks as opposed to passing a gas tax holiday, which is very interesting news, and I'll address more on that in just a minute. We know that the IEA, the International Energy Agency, is recommending many ways to actually reduce our oil consumption, including things like reducing our speed per hour and the way we do travel. So I will address that in just a minute as well. And we know the White House officials are saying that China could be seen as backing Russia very soon. So we will see what happens moving forward. Right now, though, there's a lot of back and forth, whether it's between lawmakers or Democrats and Republicans, whether it's between President Biden and other world leaders, or really between Russia and Ukraine. Everything right now is really up in the air at this moment. But I want to get into what we do know at this time. And one of the things that we do know is that Democrats understand that we are dealing with rising inflation. Many expect we're going to see inflation continue to rise over the next 2 to 3 months. So we will see if that is true. But how do Democrats pass President Biden's economic agenda without causing more inflation? Well, Democrats' plan was actually very basic. It was really simple. They want to lower gas prices, they want to expand healthcare, and they want to cover childcare. Those 3 things. Okay? That was in their plan. And then obviously tackle climate, but I'm not even going to put that in there because we know that. Okay? But here's something that we are still learning, is how would we lower gas prices? What could we do? Well, there's a couple different options here. One, a federal gas tax holiday, which would save about 18 cents a gallon. Nobody's really excited about that. 18 cents a gallon, yeah, it would help. It would bring prices down a little bit. But are we going to be jumping up and down and saying, yes, we can afford that, to go put more food on the table? We can afford to go buy that new car. No, we're not going to be doing any of that. Not for 18 cents a gallon. The other option was to pass a bill that's going to provide about $45 billion, at least that was the estimate, $45 billion in gas rebates. This would be coming as profits from larger oil companies. But there's no bipartisan support there. And according to Democrats, they don't have the support from Democratic leaders to do a budget reconciliation with just one bill. Okay, just one thing. This gas tax, this providing the rebates to the American people. There's no support on that. If we're going to do a budget reconciliation, it's going to have multiple bills in it, right? Multiple provisions. If it doesn't, Democratic leaders say no, we are not going to use a budget reconciliation, especially not at this time. So we'll see. We know that they want to expand healthcare. And this was something that we've seen before as well, is by expanding healthcare and covering more people, but also lowering prices, especially for prescription medication. Those are the things that were being discussed. And that's something that Democrats still want. We also know they want to offer childcare to parents. This is going to help them lower their monthly expenses, which then they can take that money and put it into other things, like pay for gas, put a roof over their head, right? Put food on the table. All 3 things that are desperately needed at this time. But these things were not getting enough support because some Democrats wanted other things. Climate is one of those. Paid family medical leave is another one, right? Universal pre-K is another one. There's a lot of different things that Democrats want that were not included here, so it didn't get enough support. But progressives, they actually have decided to put together another list of executive orders that President Biden could actually push through. So here's some of the things that we are seeing. Let me show you this. Okay? Here we go. So here's what Democrats or progressives really want to get through. Now, you can actually go and see this on the progressive website, but I just want to go over some of the things. Okay, it even says here it was developed in full by the full 98-member caucus, but it includes lower healthcare costs, combat the climate crisis and reduce fossil fuel dependence, expand worker power, and raise wages. This is a big one because this is something that Democrats couldn't get done before. They also want to cancel federal student loan debt. They want to invest in care economy jobs and standards, advance immigrants' rights, regulate for economic and tax fairness, and deliver on the promise of equal justice under law. You can go and read about all the different things: healthcare, climate, wages, cancel federal student debt. Okay? All these things are in here. Now, why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about what progressives want? I want to show this because what we are seeing right now is you have the more moderates that are kind of accepting of where we're at right now. Okay? With high inflation, unemployment's coming down, which is good. We don't know if how our economy is doing quite yet, right? We're still waiting to see the numbers roll in, but things are looking up. But then we got progressives that say, no, we need more. We need to provide more to the American people. We need to cut costs. We need to increase taxes. We need to do all these other things. Now, the hard part is when you get one group battling the other group, both in the Democratic Party. The hard part here is they both feel they're right, but here's the issue. Right now, the people that are holding up bills, it's mainly in the Senate, okay? And in the Senate is mainly Senator Joe Manchin. Senator Joe Manchin is not up for re-election this year, so he's not really worried like many other lawmakers are. And many of the lawmakers that you see trying to push additional bills, they're not pushing these bills, as hard as they are because they're worried that Senator Joe Manchin's getting his way. They're pushing the bills because they're worried if they don't fulfill on the promises that they made to the American people, that they will not have a seat after this upcoming midterm election. So, this is why they are really pushing for President Biden to consider more things. Consider an executive order, right? Do some of these things. But the truth is that at this time, President Biden has many other worries. Inflation is one of those worries. So two things that the American people are really looking at. Yes, do some people want additional relief? Yeah. Would they love to have another stimulus check? Of course. But if we continue to see gas prices go up, we continue to see inflation across the board, and everything is more expensive, then will a $500 stimulus check really help? Probably not. And so that's where some are saying we need to provide more. We need to lower costs. And if we lower costs, that would be bigger than a stimulus check. So again, we will see if that actually happens. But while lawmakers try to figure all this out, the best way to provide additional relief, according to the American people, is through a check, a stimulus check. And we will see if more and more states decide to do this. But one state has decided to, yes, let's push for a stimulus check, not a gas tax holiday. For example, Minnesota's Governor Tim Walz, he's attempting to get lawmakers to pass a bigger rebate check than just the gas tax holiday. And just to give you an idea, Minnesota's gas tax, their state gas tax is currently at 28.5 cents per gallon. Well, Governor Walz is proposing a $500 stimulus check to individuals or $1,000 stimulus checks to couples. Now, just to give you an idea how this would actually break down, if you get a $500 stimulus check, that's the equivalent of pumping 1,754 gallons of gas into your car. Okay? That is what it would take. 1,754 gallons, a little bit more than that, so 1,755 gallons would actually exceed, if you did anything over that, that would actually be money that you didn't get. You didn't get the $500. Okay, so that 28.5% state gas tax, well, that would start to now add up. But again, who puts in 1,700 gallons of gas? Not many people. I can tell you, I personally don't. I don't put that many gallons of gas into my car in a year. Definitely not. Okay? So, the stimulus check would be a much better move in this case. And this would really help out Minnesota residents. And one thing that we have seen over the past couple years, really over the past year though, and I've been saying this before, and many experts believe the exact same thing. Again, I'm no expert, I'm just a guy on YouTube, but many people are saying that yes, if one state passes a bill and it's seen as, okay, this is productive, this is actually going places, we could see this work, other states are gonna follow right behind. So that's the good news there. And this would definitely help lower the cost for the American people. Now, here's another thing that we are seeing that would lower costs to the American people, and it would reduce our dependency on oil. But according to the International Energy Agency, they are saying that we can't just make reducing oil or oil use a temporary measure. This is something that we need to make a long-term goal. So they put out a list of ways that we can actually decrease our oil consumption, and here's just some of the things that they recommend. They recommend working from home as much as 3 days per week when possible. If you can work from home and you don't have to drive anywhere, they say do it. They also say car-free Sundays in major cities. So this could be cities like Boston, New York, Los Angeles, right? Seattle, Chicago. In major cities, have car-free Sundays where nobody drives. Also, reducing the cost of public transportation and encouraging people to walk or bike. And this is something that we see here in the Seattle area all the time is, yes, don't go and drive your car to some major cities because you're going to have to pay for parking. Got to deal with traffic, obviously. But then encourage people to walk, bike. We see that all the time in downtown Seattle and even in Bellevue and places right around here is people are walking places, cycling places, right? Using carpools. That's what they're doing to try to reduce really our oil consumption. They also say avoid air travel for business when other options are available. I've seen this so many times over the past couple of years is instead of flying somewhere to do a meeting, just pull people up on Zoom. It's very easy, very quick, inexpensive. You don't have to go anywhere, and it's faster, right? It's much faster. Even the presentations are better because you can show screens, you can do all this stuff, which is great for business. They are even talking about lowering our highway driving speeds by at least 6.2 miles per hour, okay, or 10 kilometers. What they are saying is that we just travel too fast. And by lowering our speed, we would actually use less oil, which is true. So we will see if any of these things actually get pushed by lawmakers. But one thing I can tell you is this has been part of the discussions for a while is if we can reduce our speeds, we would use less oil. The roads wouldn't be hurt as badly. They could withstand a little bit more vehicles on them in time because they're not getting beat up so quickly. So we'll see. But let's get into some Russia and Ukraine news for a second because what we are hearing is that White House officials believe that Vladimir Putin and Zelensky are getting closer to a deal, which is great. Now, when I say getting closer, it's not a deal as imminent as happening tomorrow, it's just they're getting closer. But the worry right now is that if Vladimir Putin doesn't get exactly what he wants, the expectation is China will start to help out Russia because Russia is seen as pretty much losing their resources. And they will not have enough resources. They will simply run out of resources within the next couple of months. And if this happens, they have two options. Pull out of Ukraine or ask for help. Asking for help is most likely what they're going to do. So we will see as that time comes. But as always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.